so today's community conversation was just not about how you transition, into phase 2 for COVID-19, but understanding that whether it's good or bad, whether you say yes or no, whether you go or you stay still, it causes a ripple effect in your life. Welcome to Coffee and Community Conversations. I'm so excited to talk to you today. This is your girl, PKO. I am jumping on with the hot topic. It's real, raw, and relevant, and I need to talk to you guys today. Listen, because we have communities that are at war. Good morning, Kaylee. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Talitha. Good morning, Margaret. Listen, y'all, I have this heated argument, this righteous indignation on the inside of me about this topic. Black Lives Matter is not subjective. It doesn't exist just for a certain time or in certain situations. It's a long-standing statement. And today I am going to talk about it. These are some of the things that I talk about when I work, right, in business, but I've never talked about it on Coffee and Community Conversations, but I am talking about it today. Thank you, Kaylee. Mark, thank you for joining. Listen. Black Lives Matter is not subjective. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to invite some people in here who want to jump on this hot topic. I'm going to talk about our communities that's at war. I'm going to talk about the resources that have been poured in and the resources that have been pulled out. And look, I came today with the gift from the 12, with this hammer of hope, because there is hope for our communities. There is hope for the people that live in our communities. And I want to provide some information to you and some details and instruction on how you can make impact right where you are. You don't have to have a big organization behind you, but because you have a voice, right? And you have a sound with your voice, you can shift things. And so, look, I'm so excited to be here today. And I can't kick it off without telling you guys, I'm rocking my Wonder Woman cup today, courtesy of Erica Durr. And inside of my cup, look, I have iced coffee today, Starbucks cold brew, right? We're not hot today because I'm going to be hot enough, right? Because we are about to be off the charts, y'all. This conversation is going to push some people's button. It's going to be controversial. And listen, I'm here for it. But I want to warn you today, PKO is here, but Brooklyn is still in me. And so if I say something that you are offended by, I apologize in advance, but please don't come for me in the comments areas. I may come back or I may not. We never know, because I am still praying and asking the Lord to keep me safe. But Black Lives Matter is not subjective. I'm so tired of seeing people die in our community, not at just the hands of police officers, but at the hands of people that look like us. Come on, somebody. At the hands of people who have the same color, who live in the same neighborhoods, and who do the same things that we do. I am tired. And today I want to talk about that blanket statement, Black Lives Matter. It's not subjective, right? Right. It is a statement, right? It matters all the time, not just when a certain type of people are involved. Today, I'm going to take you guys back and looking at where that topic comes from, where that black on black crime term comes from, where Black Lives Matter comes from. I'm going to talk to you about some data and some stats that is not just stats for our community, but in communities across the United States. And listen, I'm coming for people who say a whole lot about what they want to do inside the community, but they ain't doing nothing, right? Unless there's a camera in front of them, unless there's a paycheck attached to them, unless there's something that they can benefit from. I'm not talking to those people. Actually, I am. I'm coming for those people, but I'm talking to the people today who want to make a difference, the people who want to see change, the people who are tired of seeing people die at the hands of others that look like them, or people dying, period, in our communities. It's time for it to stop. And I don't know how many people will hear this live. We only have 13 people watching, but I have to believe that as we begin to share, as we begin to start the conversation, that it will cause a ripple effect in the lives of others, because we have to begin to be a part of the change that we want to see in our community. Are y'all with me this morning? Are y'all with me this morning? I have a hot community question to kick it off with. Have you been affected by violence in your community? That's the question. Have you been affected by violence in your community? If you have, I want you to write in the comments and say I have, right? I want you to say I do. Some of you guys know I work in a high-risk organization that serves a marginalized portion of people, right? And so I train gang, right? And so I'm engaging with the community. I understand what's happening in the community, and I also know that the change is not going to come from just one person. It takes a village to see systemic change, not just with things like racism or microaggression, but with black on black crime too. Come on, somebody, right? And so I see them coming. Mark said I have. Casey Bullard said I have. Shaniqua says I have. Listen, these are people that are watching that have been affected by crime in our community. And so look, I'm going to kick this off, and I said this already in the beginning, but I don't want some people need to be quiet until they're ready to do something in the community without a camera in their face, without a loud announcement, or without money involved. I just had to make that statement, and that if you need to be quiet. If you are not ready to do something in the community that you live in without a camera in your face, without a loud announcement or a paycheck attached to your name, you don't really care about stopping violence. You don't really care about seeing change. If you need to be on a center stage, if you need a platform, if you need a paycheck, or if you need propaganda, I'm coming for you today. I'm coming to cut the tail off of the thing that's been running loose. There's been a security breach in our communities, and so many people say they want to do something, but they're not doing anything about it, right? And so Kaylee said, yes, when I lived in Garden Lake, my house was caught in gunfire repeatedly. Thankfully, we were never hit. My goodness gracious. I'm so happy that you're here, Kaylee. So watch this. The statement, black on black crime versus Black Lives Matter. Let's talk about that. One is offensive to people. The other is assertive to people. It makes them feel better about who they are and the statements that they make in their life. And so I want to talk to you guys about those statements, right? Like the black on black crime and the Black Lives Matter. And so watch this. Some people, right, who are about the Black Lives Matter movement, often think that the idea of saying black on black crime is offensive, right? Because it relates to saying that there's a rampant crime problem within Black communities. And sometimes, they want it to be said in a different way. But the reality of it is that, we are ignoring, the situation and the circumstance in favor of just focusing on police brutality. Am I telling the truth right now? We ignore that there is crime happening in our community, but we'll focus on police. Listen, I think that police brutality is wrong. Everyone should be held accountable for their actions. But look, miss me with it doesn't matter if anybody else commits a crime in our community, because that's not true. It is real, right? It is relevant, and we need to hold ourselves responsible for the situations that we see that are happening. Stay with me. And so I have this question that I want to ask you guys. What does Black Lives Matter mean to you? I want you to write in the comment area. What does Black Lives Matter mean to you? What does it mean? Because I know black on black crime is a phrase or concept that at times has been used by conservative and activists and community members, that are calling for police reform. They're giving all this fake data about what's happening in our communities, but these are the facts. And look, this is not my facts. This is from a universal crime report. 90%, right? Watch this. 90% of Black people were killed by other Black people. I'm gonna just let you hold that for a minute. 90% of Black people were killed by other Black people. Somebody say, wow. Somebody say, wow. Somebody get upset that the majority of the people that are dying in our Black communities are dying by the hands of people that look like them. Get upset, get vigilant, right? Get pumped up like you want to see change. That there's somebody that looks like me, that may have experienced some of the situations that I faced in my life, that may live next door to me as my neighbor, are the same ones that are taking people out in the communities that we live in. 90% of black people killed were killed by other black people, and only 14.8% of white people killed were killed by black people. So I want to get that out the way. That's a smaller number, but some activists and some advocates, for reform have said that number was higher. But this is what we have to focus on. We have to focus on why Black lives only matter when there's police brutality, and why it doesn't matter when it's black on black crime happening in our community. Why do we ignore the facts? Why do we ignore that we are against each other at times because of some of the situations that we've been subjected to, some of the lack of resources that we don't have in our community, because of some of the things that we face? This is what is happening in our communities. And for so long, we've been quiet about it. We've been quiet about the disparities. We've been quiet about being marginalized. We've been quiet, because of Black Lives Matter. They have to matter all the time. Can somebody write that for me? If Black Lives Matter, they have to matter all the time. All the time. You can't use the term subjectively, for a certain time. It has to matter all the time. That term black on black crime came from the black media. In 1979, Ebony magazine, which was like an old school magazine for some of you that are in your 40s, my age, that talked about, what was happening in the community. And they said that although the black community is not responsible for the external conditions that have created breeding grounds for crime in some of our communities, right? We have to do something about it. They said that we have the responsibility of doing what we can to attack the problem, but it's not going to come from external resources, y'all. It's going to come from within. It's going to come from the people from those communities, the people that live in those communities, the people that care about those communities. How many of you have children? You're going to fight for your kids because they are related to you, right? They're your blood. And so when you have a community, we depend on external resources to come in to help facilitate peace for us, when in fact, the peace is not just going to come from external resources, it's going to come from internal action, right? This is good already. And this is a hot topic. So watch this. We have padded our pain with propaganda and not a process that can bring peace to individuals, who in turn will bring peace into the community. I said we have padded our pain with propaganda and not a process that can bring peace to individuals, who in turn will bring peace to the community. We have put a lot of flashing lights in front of us, right? But the flashing light is not what's going to help us create peace, right? The flashing light is not going to help us resolve an issue. Right? The flashing lights is just putting a spotlight on what is already happening, right? We have to stop padding our pain with propaganda, and we have to begin to put processes in place that can bring peace to individuals, who in turn can bring peace to the community. Somebody from the outside coming in may be able to help me with external resources, but if people know you, they see you, and they know that you care about where you live, the expectation is that you will be empowered so that you can make a change in the community that you live in. Anybody, right? And so for me, right, when I look at this issue in this hot topic, I realize that we have thrown in resources that are limited or lacking direct connection to the people that we have been catered to serve. What does that mean? We create systems, we create processes, we throw in we throw in resources that are externally into internal marginalized communities, but they're not directly connected to the people that we're serving. The system hasn't been shaped for the people that we're trying to help sustain. I just said a mouthful right there. The system has been shaped by people who aren't affected by the situations that we affect in our Black community. The systems have been shaped by people who never stepped foot on the block. They ain't never had nobody who's been hurt. They've never had nobody that's been in prison. They've never had anybody in their life that's been marginalized. We have shaped the system and processes by people, right, who are ignorant to some of what some of the individuals are facing in our inner city. I said something right there. You can't talk to me about overcoming a situation unless you overcame the situation, right? You can't tell me that I can be healed from something if you haven't walked through a healing. You can't talk to me about building a business if you have never built a business. You can't talk to me about what it feels like to get over a relationship that was lost if you've never got over a relationship that was lost. That's like some of these people trying to tell you you what you need to do and they've never been through nothing. I need somebody to tell them to be quiet. I need somebody to tell them to close their lips, right? And again, I'm coming for the people today who always complain about what's happening in the community, and the people that say they want to do something for the community, but they scared. My goodness, they're scared. And not only are they scared, if there's no camera, if there's no loud announcement, and there's no paycheck attached to it, they don't want to do anything within the inner city. They don't want to do anything within the community. If you've been in your city for 10, 15 years and you ain't done nothing yet, you don't really want to do anything. You're doing something is subjective, right? You're looking for something before you give something. This is for you. I need you to stop playing, because we have people that are dying. We have communities that are at war. And I need somebody somewhere to be stirred up, to have a righteous indignation, to be vigilant about Black lives mattering for real, about Black on Black crime, about seeing our young men and our young women slayed in our communities at the hands of people that look just like them because of situations that our communities have been shaped to deal with. It's time for us to fix it ourselves. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's time for us to fix it ourselves, right? We need to stop looking for, I'm going to say something out loud. We need to stop looking for a savior other than God himself to fix something for us. And we need to utilize the tools that we have and begin to operate and ignite in our communities. Watch this. Black Lives Matter should not only matter when law enforcement is involved. It matters all the time. So the propaganda associated with organizations that proclaim vigilance about seeing peace in hoods across the United States is a lie. And I came to catch a devil loose. I came to break what people believe. If you running around here with a sign that says Black Lives Matter, PKO just said if it only matters when police are involved, you telling an untruth. It's not real. I need you to be vigilant all the time. Let me go back to what I just said. I said that Black Lives Matter should not only matter when law enforcement is involved. It matters all the time. So the propaganda, the picket signs, the riots associated with organizations that proclaim that they want to be vigilant about seeing peace in our hoods across the United States is a lie. We need to spend more time on our knees than oh my goodness, because if we did, we would realize that the sign and the systems that have been shaped need to be restructured. It needs to be rebuilt, and it's not going to start from external resources. It's going to start from internal people who understand the hoods that they live in. I said it. I said it. I said it. I said it. And I wanted to jump on here to this morning. This was not my topic today. But I woke up with a righteous indignation. I woke up stirred. I woke up angry because I fight peace differently. I'm not going to the Gulf War. I'm not going to desert. I'm not going to the Middle East to fight. I fight in the community that I live in. I fight with education, with opportunity. I fight with providing people with strategies and with systems that can be built out so they can impact the communities that they live in. And for so long, we've screamed Black Lives Matter, but it's been subjective, and it can't be subjective anymore. I'm going to hold everybody I see that say Black Lives Matter accountable. I said it. I'm holding myself accountable. It can't matter just when there's a George Floyd, just when there's a Breonna Taylor. It has to happen when there's a Barshawn, a Tyrone, or a Stephen, like whoever it is. If you kill someone in our community, you need to be held accountable. If you take a life, you need to be held accountable. It matters all the time. We can't only care when somebody else kills us, but when we kill us, we're silent. That's the stigma in the Black family. We keep quiet about everything that happens behind closed doors. And there's a doors that close off in our hoods, and we have to open it. We have to open it. We have to open it. We have to open the door, and we have to begin to open up our mouth and speak to the younger people in the community. We have to speak to the people that have community organizations and churches and businesses in our community. If you are there, then you can help be part of the solution. If you don't want to be part of the solution, then you a problem, homie. You a problem. You are a problem. And we're not looking for problems today. We're looking for solutions. And some of y'all said in the beginning that you've been affected by crime in your community. It changed you. It changed what you believed. It changed who you trusted. It changed what you did. It changed the circumstances in your life for future engagement. There's some things that you just won't do because of what you experienced in your past. It's a ripple effect. It becomes a cycle. When I was growing up in the streets of Brooklyn, right, and upstate New York, right, I saw people lose their lives in the hood for all kinds of different reasons. And what I realized is that I can still remember those same people. I can still remember the people whose lives that we lost. Aren't we tired of RIPs and balloon releases and t-shirts with people's face on it because we lose them and that's all we got? We don't got real change. We just got a t-shirt, a balloon release. That's it. And an RIP. I miss you, homie. I love you. Come on now. We got to do better than that, because the people that we are losing are future doctors, lawyers, attorneys, political officials, pastors, teachers, ministers, fathers. These are people who have destiny and purpose on their life. And I came today to be a destiny disruptor. I came to tell you that we have to shift the narrative for some of the people in our communities, because they have purpose. They have calls on their life. And if somebody somewhere doesn't open up their mouth and say something, we're going to lose them. And we're going to have a future generation of people where there's a lack, because we didn't do anything about what we were experiencing right now. There's already police brutality. We already have marginalization in our communities. We already have a lack of resources. We already have issues with diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Why do we fight ourselves? I'm gonna wait. Why do we fight ourselves? Why don't we take time to support each other, to encourage each other? What happens in our minds where we believe that we have the right to be judge and jury? Where are the people that are going to start the programs for the generation that's coming up, that's 14 to 18 years old? Where are the Black men? Look, I'm calling you out. Where are the Black men that have been successful? You don't have to be rich, but you're stable. You know, you have a job, you have a nice place to stay. You may be married or you may not be married. Where are you? When are you coming out from the comfort of your crib into the community to help cultivate the young men that are there? Where are you? Where are the mothers that are upset and that are mad that they're seeing bloodshed in their streets? Why aren't you screaming out loud? Why is it okay? Why do we settle for a balloon and for a t-shirt, right? When instead we should be building tenacity, because tragedy is happening on a daily basis in Black communities all over the United States. Where are they? Where are the churches that are comfortable in their 25,000 square foot building? You have 55,000 ministers and preachers of the gospel. Can't nobody come out in the hood and do nothing? Can't nobody start a mentoring program to bring people in and for a minute, not just beat them in the head with Jesus, but just show them some love? Wow. Where are they? Where are the resources that Black Lives Matter received when George Floyd was killed, because it was millions of dollars? Where is that money being funneled? I said it. You build an educational program, you helping rebuild our communities, cleaning up our streets. Like, what's happening? Where is it? Where are the people? Listen, I'm a prayer. I pray. And I'm so thankful that I'm surrounded by people who pray. But there has to be a compound anointing. We have to pray, but we also have to apply some practical tools, y'all. I'm just keeping it hot. Where are we? Where are the powerful women and men of God who've been successful, made money, who've gotten out the hood and did well for themselves? You don't have to come back, but you could tell somebody there that better is possible. That's right, Angela. We need receipts and we need accountability. And that's what this is for. Black Lives Matter is not subjective. Black Lives Matter all the time. We have to learn to be accountability of the actions of ourselves, not just individuals that intrude within our community and intrude within situations that we face on a daily basis. We have to hold ourselves accountable too. It's often hard for us to point a finger at me, but we can point a finger at he or she. And it's time that as the Black community, we stop looking out just outside, but we begin to look internally at some of the things that we need to do, some of the systems that we need to create, and some of the processes that we say are in place that aren't doing anything to impact people. It's time for us to stop talking about we want change and we don't have no change unless the news stations show up, unless somebody offer you some kind of grant or funding or you get paid for it, or unless there's a platform for you to speak on. I need you to be okay with speaking somebody on the corner on the block where the brick might be broken, it might smell a little, and there's nobody out there. They may be garbage all over the streets. I need you to be okay with going in the gutter, right? To have a conversation with somebody, because that somebody can be a powerful individual that God wants to use. Watch this. Let me tell you this story. Let me tell you this story. I saw this on a video. Priscilla Shire was talking about a group of students who went on a trip with their professor. They were going to a college that taught about theology, and some of the veterans in the gospel, you know, had prayed there and instituted instruction there. And they were going inside the room, and they began to show the kids that this was an area that one of the generals in the gospel would pray at, and you could see knee marks on the floor. You could see the knee marks on the carpet because he sat in the same place and prayed on a daily basis. And the teacher gave them the history. The students were interested. And then when they were on their way back and the teacher got to the bus, he did a count and he realized that there was a student missing. And they came back and he went back in the room and he went and looked, and there was a young man on the floor. His knees was in the exact same place that that general was praying in. And all he said is like, God, if you did it before, do it again. And don't just do it again, but do it again through me. And today, I need to ask God to do it again. I need to ask God to do it again through me. I need to ask God to do it again through you. And if you don't believe in God and you're watching this, you can still do it again. There's something in you that the society that you serve needs. That young man, I believe, was Billy Graham or Franklin Graham. I have to go back. It slipped my mind, y'all. Forgive me, but it was a general of the gospel. He just asked God to do it again. And we have to ask God to do it again. And again, if you don't believe in God and you're watching this, it's okay. There is something that is in you that society needs. You can still serve, right? I want to encourage you in love that you are also welcome to serve the communities that you live in, the communities that you heard about. You know, if you've seen an issue, don't be silent. It's time for us to speak. Black Lives Matter. It's not a phase. It's something that's going to be here for generations to come. And if we don't do anything now, we'll have a generation at war, killing themselves. And those that aren't killing themselves will be in jail for the rest of their life. And so we'll miss out on a generation of kids that have been assigned, you know, to do things in the country that we live in. And they'll never get the opportunity because of the people that came before them, the people that live in their community, the people with the resources decided not to speak. They decided not to speak. They decided not to serve. They decided not to stand up. Black Lives Matter all the time. It's time for us to shape systems that are sustainable and not microwavable. You heard me. It's time for us to shape systems that are sustainable and not microwavable. There's no minute to win it. This is something that's long-term and the process continues. There's a ton of programs in our communities across the United States. I'm interested in the impact. I'm interested in who you serve. I'm interested in what you do. I'm also interested in how I can work with you so that we can continue to create impact. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. But if there's no will in your community, it's time for you to do something about it. Wow. We don't need microwavable programs. We need something that's going to sustain us, something that's going to continue. We need something that's going to educate and provide opportunity. We need a strategy. not just against the forces that are externally that are coming in our communities or that we've been subjected to or that have been responsible for killings in the Black community, but we need strategy inside. We need strategy in our communities. My sister Angela C. Gray is up here, and she always say it starts with you, but it's not about you. It's important that we understand and we realize that. We don't need a camera. We don't need a platform. We're not asking for a paycheck. But I am asking you to push. I'm asking you to make a change in your community. And it starts with a conversation. Conversation will challenge what the other person you're speaking to believes. And if you know somebody that is in the inner city, or if you know somebody in general that are struggling or may be a part of the communities that we live in, and they may not have access to the resources that they need, and we make these decisions based on where we are, and y'all know my story. I made some of those decisions, and I made the decisions based on where I was because I didn't know that there was another route. I've done a lot of things that, I used to be extremely ashamed of before God delivered and healed me. And when I look back, if I had the information I needed back then, I wouldn't have done some of the things I did out loud. Instead, I would have tapped into the resources, and I would have taken on a sense of responsibility because I knew that better was possible. It didn't start with a gun. It didn't start with selling drugs. It didn't start with helping people. It started with me. It started with me. And so right now, this is Coffee and Community Conversation. Right now, I'm believing that there are like 10 of y'all that's watching right now. I'm believing that this is going to go out and go viral. I'm speaking to it, and that people are going to be stirred all over the United States. They're going to be stirred to shift things in their community. They're going to be stirred to make a difference. They're just going to be stirred to speak. You don't have to launch a big campaign. All you have to do is be willing to have a powerful conversation. That's it. That's it. That's what I have for you today. Black Lives Matter all the time. It's not subjective. Sierra has a song called Rooted, and she says, young Rosa, young Luther, keep marching, right? And everybody's not called to march in the streets, but you can march in a conversation. You can march with a resource. You can march with new systems. You can march by being vigilant about seeing change in your community, and no longer just pointing fingers outwardly, but looking internally as well, and realizing that our lives matter all the time, all the time, all the time. So I want you to do me a favor. If you watch this and you're here, if you're bold enough, because this is a rough topic and you may not want to be associated with it, I understand. I want you to share this for me. And I want you to put in the line when you share this and write a post that Black Lives Matter is not subjective. Black Lives Matter all the time, right? All the time, all the time, all the time. It don't make no sense if I've been in the streets, I've toted weapons, I've done wrong, I've committed crimes that I've served time for, that I don't go back to have a conversation with and tell somebody that better is possible. And some of us have experiences like that too. Can we decide today to make a change in our community? Can we decide today that we're going to be vigilant and get mad when we see Black on Black crime? In the past couple of months, I've seen a lot of people die in my city and in other cities across the United States that I knew, that I know, that I had conversations with. And I always think back to myself, could I have said something? Could I have done something? And I keep saying that all I have to do is keep working, keep having those conversations, keep reminding people that better is possible, and keep presenting myself as evidence that you can come from where you are to a new position in your life. Hey, thank you so much for watching Coffee and Community Conversation today. Any questions that you guys want to bring up? Any questions that you guys want to share? Any questions? I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You don't have to have a big following to make a difference. I mean, there's some people here that, have small businesses, and some people here that do things that are odd and weird, and you can use what you have to make impact. If you an artist, make a art piece that symbolize unity, not just between Black and white people, but between Black and Black people and white people. Like, there are different ways that you can express yourself, different ways that you can be a part of the change. And whatever you do as a career, whatever you do as a hobby, there is something there that you can use to help reshape your community. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Y'all know I'm your girl, PKO, and this is what I do every Saturday morning, is Coffee and Community Conversation. I had a new series that I was going to kick off today. I'm not sure how I'm being led right now, but this is where we are today. We are paying attention to what's happening in our community and realizing that we can be a part of the change, that we can't continue to shape systems that are microwavable, but we have to look at things that are sustainable. We have to remember that we have thrown resources that are limited and lacking, but don't have direct connection to the people that's been catered to serve. And we also have to remember that we've padded our pain with propaganda and not a process that can bring peace to individuals, who in turn can bring peace to the community. It may not start with the system, but the system is going to start with you. I hope you are encouraged. I hope you're moved. I hope you make a difference. Don't forget to share this and tag me in the post. Have an amazing day. And so today's community conversation was just not about how you transition, interface 2 for COVID-19, but understanding that whether it's good or bad, whether you say yes or no, whether you go or you stay still, it causes a ripple effect in your life.